Right, I don't believe I'm actually on the live stream because Lanky hasn't joined. Oh, I am. Never mind, I lie. I lie. My apologies. Right. We are a couple turns in already. I did see a Zapdos and a Coco lead, although I didn't see who owned what. Oh. Kills happening right off the bat. That Ceruledge dying to the mill metal, which was behind a substitute, interestingly, as the Zapdos comes in. Now, a Heat Wave here will do a solid amount, but probably will not be enough to kill, especially seeing it as Melmetal loves to run Assault Vests, and of course has investment into bulk. I very much doubt a Heat Wave will kill here, but I don't think a Melmetal can confidently threaten the Zapdos enough to force it out, or to kill it for that matter. And also, this is, if you weren't aware, this is spectating from the side of Ace of Jade of PokeValley, fighting Big Man Blaine of Colosseumon. Right, didn't forget. So the Melmetal switches into the Zapdos, which is already apparently quite low as it does die to the Heat Wave, and the Banette comes in, frisking out the heavy-duty boots. It is a Mega Banette. It goes for the Poltergeist, doing a lot, 80% to the Zapdos. Not quite enough to kill, but doing a lot. So Zapdos goes for Thunder Wave, but does miss. That's not really a worthwhile trade there. Getting nothing in value in exchange for the majority of your life lost. I expect the Zapdos to switch out. Granted, the side of Ace of Jade already has lost one Pokemon. I believe they've both lost one Pokemon each. Ace of Jade having lost their Zapdos, and Big Man Blaine having lost their Ceruledge, as the Weavile switches in and takes about 70% from that Banette, doing a lot of damage. Of course, Weavile not being a particularly tanky Pokemon. Banette going for the Will-O-Wisp, but it does fail. Why does it fail? Right, Prankster. Status effects don't work on Dark-type Pokemon, right? Very unfortunate. As the Kartana does come in, the Weavile, we do know it does have Choice Band and is locked into that knockoff. So though it would hit this Cortana quite hard, it will not be enough to kill it. As it goes for the Sacred Sword, cleaning up. Maybe quite a risky move keeping that Weavile in. As the Tapu Koko does come in its stead. Stead. I'm very interested in what the idea behind this Tapu Koko is. I assume it's just to clean up, assuming that either Volt Switch or Thunderbolt or whatever's coming out will do enough damage to kill this Kartana. Whereas I think a Leaf Blade from a Cortana would hurt this Tapu Koko quite a lot. It already has lost 25% of its health. I don't know if it would be enough to kill, but it would hurt a lot. And Tapu Koko Pokemon without recovery goes for the Discharge, does get the kill, is able to clean up the Cortana. as the Melmetal comes back in. We already know that this Melmetal is running Earthquake. So I'm curious on what this Koko is going to do. I assume it is just going to hard switch out into something else. I believe the opposing Zapdos is still alive, so they might switch into that, but at the same time the Melmetal may predict it, but it doesn't switch out. Melmetal going for the Earthquake and killing it. I do not believe that was a worthwhile trade. Losing the Koko for just about 40%, 50% on that Melmetal, as the Hawlucha does come in unburdened procking. Going for the Swords Dance. Risky move, Swords Dancing in front of a Melmetal. So Thunder Punch does come out. Any priority, of course, this Melmetal is likely going to die this coming turn if it doesn't switch out, but any priority at all from the Ace of Jade will likely kill this Hawlucha, especially with that special defense drop, as the Urshifu comes in. Going with the Aqua Jet and killing the Hawlucha. This is a very fast-paced game as the Gastrodon does come in. I don't know if that is a Scarf Hawlucha. If it is, I think it might be, as it went straight for a hard switch instead of a U-turn, which of course it might not be running. As the Alomomola comes in. Using Wish, very likely to bring in something else and allowing it to get a fresh batch of health. As the Urshifu comes back in, as the Urshifu becomes drowsy as well. Going for the U-turn, avoiding drowsy, putting it to sleep. As the Alomomola comes back in. Gastrodon going for Earth Power, not doing a whole lot. Alomomola goes for another Wish. Gastrodon is just using Earth Power repeatedly, wanting to use Yawn again, perhaps scared of potentially proccing Sleep Claws. Alomomola goes for Protect, wanting to take that Wish healing for itself. The wish does come true as it regens itself, taking another Earth Power. So the Urshifu comes in and the Zapdos also comes in. Now the Zapdos is very low. I do believe, depending on its EV set, it may be in danger of being Aqua Jetted, which it is. As it switches it into Gastrodon, taking the Aqua Jet and activating Storm Drain. Its special attack increasing as the Alomomola comes in, taking a bit more damage than before from Earth Power. Now actually in risk of being killed by this Gastrodon. So Urshifu comes back in. Ooh, the close combat on the Gastrodon, but it is just not enough. So it does die to Earth Power. Alomomola comes back in. I don't know if it has any attacking move outside of Flip Turn. They do forfeit, as they don't have anything left capable of dealing with that Gastrodon. First match going to Big Man Blaine for, I believe that is Colosseumon, I believe. Yes, because Ace of Jade is PokeValley. The first point going with a 2-0 victory to Big Man Blaine representing Colosseumon. So we'll be going into our second match. It's quite a fast-paced, scrappy fight. The next two fighters are ready. Glacial Eclipse, representing PokeValley, and Tater Tot Warmaker, representing Colosseumon. I was putting the wrong one. Where is Glacial? Where? Yeah, there. With the Sableye and Grimmsnarl lead. Obviously, a prankster Grimmsnarl. Sableye going for Protect. Grimmsnarl sets up Light Screen uncontested. Grimmsnarl tries to go for the parting shot, but is unable to. Due to Mega Sableye's Magic Bounce. Mega Sableye switches into Magnezone. Now, keep in mind, these teams do get team preview. Perhaps they are expecting the Grimmsnarl to pivot into something that Magnezone hard counters. But no, as the Magnezone Volt switches out, as the Grimmsnarl does manage to set up both screens. This is very, very scary depending on what is being used by Tater Tot Warmaker. Certain Pokemon behind screens are completely unstoppable. The Gliscor does come in. Grimmsnarl going for the parting shot on the Corsola, which gets its Eviolite knocked off. I have no idea what this Corsola is doing. Not a thing. Not even a clue. Gliscor goes for the Earthquake, barely doing anything. Granted, this is behind screens, but even then, it wouldn't have done much. So Corsola goes for Will-O-Wisp, which fails. Right, yes, because it's already poisoned. Corsola going for Nightshade, slowly ticking down with Nightshade damage. Of course, a portion of that is re-healed by Gliscor's Poison Heal. Not the best use of screens, in my opinion. As the Nightshade is usually slowly whittles one down. But as the turns go by, those screens are ticking down. And not much is able to be taken advantage of as the Gliscor switches out into a Blissey. I think I understand. Light screens, strength set, um, Nightshade. It's looking to make this Corsola nearly invincible. Because especially with the Will-O-Wisp as well, as this Blissey does get Will-O-Wisped, although depending on what ability it's running, we'll just switch out safely as the light screen goes down. Cinderace switches in. It does take Stealth Rock damage, taking 25% of its health. Cinderace does get toxic as it comes in. The Blissey switches into the Toxapex. Cinderace going for the court change, swapping those rocks around as the Reflect goes down. Cinderace going for the U-turn, not able to hurt this Toxapex too much, actually taking quite a bit of damage from the Rocky Helmet, and that Rocky Helmet damage popping the air balloon. As the Venusaur does come in, expecting the switch on the Toxapex side, Glacial Eclipse expecting that switch, but not expecting to switch to a poison type. So the Toxic fails. Toxapex does come out. The Mega Sableye comes out. The Magic Bounce does reflect the Leech Seed, but of course you can't Leech Seed a Grass type, so it fails. Mega Venusaur going for the Toxic. Can't Toxic a Magic Bounce Pokemon, unfortunately. Sableye goes for the Will-O-Wisp, burning the Venusaur. Venusaur goes for the Giga Drain. Sableye goes for the knockoff, not doing that much. Sableye goes for the Protect. To whittle down those burn ticks bit by bit. As the Magnezone comes in. So goes for another Giga Drain. Not doing too much to a Magnezone. Going for the Flash Cannon, do a significant amount to that Venusaur. And the Leech Seed does miss. At this point, all that Leech Seed would be doing would be offsetting that burn damage, but unfortunately, that would not be enough to offset the Flash Cannon damage. I'm expecting either the Venusaur to stay in and just die, or to switch out. The Venusaur goes for the Protect as the Magnezone uses Flash Cannon again. Burning through the burn damage. At this point, the Magnezone could probably click anything other than Flash Cannon, and it would probably still kill the Venusaur. And if that didn't, the burn damage at the end of the turn certainly would. just going for the flash cannon and playing it safe, killing the Venusaur. Perhaps it's actually choice locked as well. That is an option. As the Cinderace comes in. Of course, not taking rock damage because rocks were court changed earlier. But it is toxic. It can only do so much. As the Toxapex comes in, missing the Cinderace going for the Pyro Bull, intending to completely destroy that Magnezone. As the Toxapex comes in and actually misses. Taking a bit of poison damage in the process. As the Zeraora comes in, also being toxic. Zeraora goes for the Blaze Kick, expecting the switch, perhaps a switch to the Magnezone as the Gliscor comes in, taking a bit of damage, but not much. Of course, Zeraora is infamous for being a Pokemon that cannot hit that hard when it's hitting neutrally. So it's very likely banded. So very likely was locked into Blaze Kick. Not guaranteed, but fairly likely. As the Corsola comes back out, as the Blissey comes in, and the Corsola sets up a substitute. There is usually a second commentator here, but he's not here today. Corsola going for the Nightshade. You can't use that. It's a normal type. And also resetting Stealth Rock. Cinderace is one of the more offensive threats on the side of Tater-Tot Warmaker. So it's already at, I believe, 34% was what I saw it at when it last switched out. It can switch in one more time to those Stealth Rocks, but it will be very low going forward from there. The Blissey has been burned for the second time. Repeatedly using Stealth Rock. I'm curious. This isn't choice locked, is it? I wouldn't imagine it would be. It's a Blissey. Switches out into the Clefable, which also gets burned. Going for the Calm Mind, setting up on this Corsola. Obviously believing the Corsola cannot threaten it that much, which I don't believe it can. Using Nightshade, doing a bit, but not that much. I see the idea. Spamming Calm Mind, covering, I believe soft boiled Clefable gets. And just rinsing, repeating until that substitute can be broken. Risky move on the side of Tater-Tot Warmaker, just letting this thing set up. With its access to soft boiled, it can just keep doing this. Well, I'd say forever, but for quite a long time. So substitute is broken. Future Top Warmaker will need to think hard about what he wants to do here. I'm not sure what the set on that Corsola is, but this Clefable is either +3 or +4 special attack now, and it's looking to hit it quite hard. But stays in. Clefable goes for the Moonblast, killing it, not switching in anything to potentially let it die. So Cinderace comes in, taking a significant amount of Stealth Rock damage in the process. It is very, very low. I don't know if that toxic damage will kill it this turn, or if it will last one more turn. It's hurt by poison, and it is barely alive. Either way, it does go for the court change and will likely die in the process. The Toxapex does go for the Scald, finishing off this Cinderace. Stealth Rock has been swapped, but I don't know if that's a worthy trade there. Swapping the Stealth Rock for death. Zeraora comes in. Gliscor comes back in, taking a critical hit Blaze Kick, but it doesn't matter too much. This Gliscor likely just able to keep going and obviously heavily threatening this Zeraora with an Earthquake. Don't know if Tetra Top Warmaker can make their way out of this scenario with the very tanky Corsola dead and the Cinderace dead. Zeraora cannot really break through this Gliscor, although it will try, as Reflect is set up, and the Gliscor goes for the knockoff, getting rid of that Light Clay in the process. Setting up the other screen. The Gliscor using Defog, completely getting rid of those screens, showing what it can do. Showing that Grimmstyle can do nothing while this Gliscor exists. The Grimmstone does go for a parting shot. Perhaps it doesn't have taunt. The Greninja comes in, taking an Earthquake, not caring too much. Expecting this Gliscor to switch out here, likely in favor of the Toxapex. As the Blissey comes out, taking the Ice Beam and not caring too much about it either. So Zeraora comes in, taking a Seismic Toss for its troubles. Now, how many times can a Gliscor really switch into this Zeraora, as it takes the reversal and does not care? This Gliscor very heavily threatened, and I believe the Greninja might be low enough after that Seismic Toss to potentially be in danger of death if it switches into an Earthquake. And the Grimmstyle can't do much. Oh, it just survives 7%. I'm expecting the Blissey or the Toxapex to come back out. Both of which are threatened by the Zeraora, so this may be a switching game for just a bit until one party gets a good move in. As the Zeraora comes out, predicting the Blissey switch. The Gliscor comes back in, taking the Plasma Fists and not caring, as every turn this Zeraora is unable to do something, or even if it does do something, it takes more and more poison damage as the Gliscor goes for the Earthquake, finishing off the Zeraora. As Tater Top Warmaker will actually forfeit Glacial Eclipse, winning with 6 Pokemon remaining. Taking home a point for PokeValley. The teams now stand at 1-1. Going into this final matchup, going into this final matchup will determine which team here walks away with a point on the board. As whatever happens here, one team will be walking away 2-1, another 1-2, meaning one team on the leaderboard will be at +1 victories and the other one will be at -1. And the first match was fairly close with only 2 Pokemon remaining, but this one was fairly decisive with all 6 Pokemon remaining alive. Going into our final match of the night, we have we have Typhon XXL representing Colosseumon and a Rise Heart representing PokeValley. We see a Tapu Koko and a Galarian Slowking lead. Presuming this Koko is going to prefer to just pivot out here. Indeed it does. Going for the U-turn, presumably a ground type is on that team somewhere, as it is, as the Iron Treads comes out. Oh, no, I mean ground type on the other side. Ground type on the Slowking's side. It's the Zapdos comes in. The Iron Tread's taking a Sludge Wave and not really caring for it. Iron Treads does get, I believe that was a speed boost it got. It was indeed a speed boost that it got. Iron Treads set Stealth Rock, staying in against this Zapdos. Which presumably will go for a Heat Wave, or predicting a switch will use something else. Oh, never mind, I swapped in. Done. Going for the Iron Head against the Iron Tread, sorry, against the Zapdos, not doing much. Going for the Volt Switch, but unable to. This Iron Tread's just spamming Iron Head, getting the flinch. Iron Head again. Getting paralyzed for its troubles. As the Zapdos just roosts in front of it, not caring too much. Iron Tread's just spamming Iron Head. Really wants to use Iron Head. Loves Iron Head. Zapdos uses Hidden Power. Presumably Hidden Power Ice, I believe that is. I'm very surprised that this Iron Treads has not switched out yet. So the Koko comes in and the Zapdos roosts, basically completely unscathed from that scenario, whereas the Iron Treads is paralyzed and at, what was it, 37% or something? 40%? Quite low. Very much a worthwhile exchange on the Zapdos' part. As the Koko comes in, likely going to just Volt Switch out. So Diancie comes in, does take rock damage, but doesn't care too much. Koko does taunt. Taunting a Diancie will not do much, as it usually runs all attacking moves. Switching back into the Diamond Treads. Diamond Treads, Iron Treads, taking a Diamond Storm and not caring too much for it. Zapdos comes in. The Iron Treads can't even Iron Head it due to being paralyzed. One side is thinking quite carefully here. As the Curum comes in against Zapdos. Zapdos will have to switch into something else, and we'll have to think about it carefully. As the Galarian Slowking comes in, taking an Ice Beam, but not taking too much. Interesting that this Curum is running Ice Beam. It's not something you often see it run. So goes for the Draco Meteor. This is a full special set. Most of the sets we've seen here today and over the past couple days have been either the mixed Dragon Dance set, or the Sub Roost set. I do believe this is our first full special offense set. So Slowking goes for the Sludge Wave. The Iron Moth comes out, taking the Sludge Wave, taking about 20%, not too much. Arise Heart is really struggling to make space for themselves and get any momentum going. Perhaps with this Iron Moth, this will be their opportunity to get something going. Although, of course, does usually run a Future Sight, and it goes for the Scold, which does hurt it quite a bit. I do believe another one may kill. Iron Moth does go with Fire Dance and does not get the special attack raising proc, unfortunately. The Iron Treads comes in, taking the Scold, dying as the Tapu Koko comes in, and I've been kicked out of the fight for some reason. There we go. Koko does U-turn out as the Diancie comes in. Iron Moth is brought in. Very interesting choice bringing the Iron Moth in against the Diancie. Of course, you do get that Quark Drive activation as Iron Moth's special attack is raised. The Diancie does switch out into the Zapdos, dying to a Sludge Wave, and the Greninja comes in, heavily threatening a revenge kill. The Tapu comes in, taking the Water Shuriken and not caring too much. Of course, many Greninjas do run Sludge Wave, I believe. I don't think I'm making that up. I might be. One of the players thinking quite carefully here. I just realized the Coco does actually kill the Greninja with a dazzling gleam as the Diancie does switch back in. I do apologize. I was not looking at my screen. Diancie does come back in, threatening with a potential Earth power, which it might be running, it might not, but the mere threat of it will likely force this Coco out, unless it decides to just stick in, because there are quite a few Pokemon that are dead on that side, I believe. Could be wrong. Dancy takes a Thunderbolt and does live as a Diamond Storm comes out and is not enough to kill the Coco. And Dancy will die next turn to another Thunderbolt if it decides to stay in. That defense increase will not help it at all from this Tapu Koko. One side thinking carefully here. The Slowking comes in, taking the Thunderbolt. Not taking a huge amount, but a respectable amount nonetheless. The Slowking has already revealed earlier it is running Sludge Wave that does threaten this Coco as it does U-turn out. Iron Moth coming in, taking the Sludge Wave and not caring too much. Of course, now that that Greninja is dead, does Typhon XXL have something that can threaten this Iron Moth? Dancy does come in, taking rock damage, dying to a fiery dance, which does not get the special attack proc as the Kyurem comes in. Tapu Koko switch. Kyurem uses Earth Power, killing the Coco. Desperately getting that electric terrain back up as the Iron Valiant comes in. Kyurem heavily threatened now. Iron Valiant going for the Calm Mind, assuming the Kyurem is going to switch out, as it does go for the Earth Power, a risky move. So Iron Valiant goes for a Moon Blast, killing the Kyurem. Not coming away unscathed. So Slowking comes out. Now this Iron Valiant is at +1. Is that enough to kill this Slowking? It is not, as it does die from the Slowking's Sludge Wave. As the Xurkitree comes onto field. I don't know what Typhon XXL has left. Both sides have lost many Pokemon and have lost count. Going for the Rising Voltage and getting the proc on Beast Boost, its special attack being increased as the Great Tusk comes in. Getting an attack boost, switching into Kyurem. Taking a headlong rush and dying in the process as the Iron Moth comes out, getting its special attack boost and using the Energy Ball and taking out the Great Tusk. A Rise Heart will be beating Typhon XXL with 2 Pokemon remaining. As Colosseumon takes home another point, going 2-1 in favor of Colosseumon. Never mind, other way around. Other way around, my bad. 2-1 in favor of PokeValley, as a Rise Heart does beat Typhon XXL. Yes, my bad. A very close match, only winning with 2 Pokemon left. Very close. This will mean that PokeValley will be going to leaderboards with a 1 victory overall, with its 2-1 record. Colosseumon will be at -1. Not as bad as some teams, as there are many teams after our first rounds of group matches that are down at -1 and some at -3. So there are many teams that are in a worse state. So Colosseumon, while they will have to pick up their slacks a bit, it is not over for them yet, not by a long shot. PokeValley will be able to maybe go into their next couple matches not as tense, but they'll still have to work hard to secure themselves spots in the brackets later on. Thank you all to all who participated, the battlers today, and in the fights earlier as well. And thanks for our lovely staff, referees, organizers, everyone that makes this possible. If you wish to support the Pixelmon World Cup in any way, there is a sponsorship page on the website that you can go visit. We are a community-driven event, so anything really does help out a lot. If you feel like you wish to support us, that is. We do have more matches tomorrow between Squirtle Squad MC and Unlinked, and Pixelmon Scarlet Korea and Astral Pixelmon. Tomorrow at about the same time as this on our past fight happened, although if you want the exact times, it's best to come on the Discord server to check. You can find that on the Pixelmon World Cup website. Until then, of course, I was Alba. I am Alba. And thank you very much for coming to watch.